All right, well, interesting day today. Made some monies on some call contracts and then two options trades that didn't quite go how I would have liked, and one that was just ridiculous, just purely for how the chart's going to look at the end. So if you're interested in all of that, stay tuned to this video. Let's trade. All right, so the first trade of today was an options trade here on UPST. It was yesterday coming off a really good earnings, so I was like, all right, it pumped up pre-market again some. Maybe we can get an opportunity to ride this thing higher if it dips off the open. So I'm looking at the call contracts here, and I put an order out at $2.40 here on the premium. Looking, I believe, at the 165 calls. Yes, the 165 calls. So I'm in one contract there at an average of 240. And if this thing wants to keep coming down, I'm willing to add more contracts in, especially at the price that the premiums are in. It shouldn't get away from me really at all on this trade with the price of the premiums. So it's still coming down a little bit here, and I'm looking at them like, okay, if it comes down and towards that $2 range, I'll probably grab another contract there at $2, get my average down to an average of 220 on the premium with the two contracts there, and then still be willing to add in if it goes down further below 2 down towards 150. So it's coming down a bit more here. You can't see it on this screen because I don't have it set up for the options contract stuff, but I do get filled there. Another contract at $2, so I now have two contracts at 220. So you can see I had put out another order there at 160 for those two contracts to add two more if it came down further, but it did not. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this thing's popping here. I think I have a good chance to get at least 250 on those two, which is above both of my entries on the other contracts and would be all in the money on both positions there. And there it is. We get the fill there at 250 for plus $60 there on those UPST call contracts. So I was really hoping that this thing would get a better bounce and maybe move up through highs of the day, coming off of the good earnings yesterday, but it was a tough market this morning with all the Russia and Ukraine news and everything, so just booking a $60 win there. Next trade here was on RIVN. You can see this thing was pumping up pretty decently here, but I have watched RIVN a lot recently, so I decided I was going to take this one easy. And if we pump up a little bit further here, only start with a 50 share short on this move up through the 68.50. So there it is. I get 50 shares short there at 68.60, willing to add in if it pumps up through that 69 range. Not really looking for a huge win here with only 50 shares, but if we can get in a little bit more share size, if it continues going, then we have the potential to make at least a little bit here on this one on Rivian, the electronic car maker. Kind of like Tesla, but not as cool. So here it goes. We're pushing up through 69, looking for an add here on a nice move through 69. There's the push through, and it hits 69.25, and I put the order out right there at first, right where it got to the high of it. Didn't get me a fill, but it kind of hung up there, and it kept pushing up a little bit higher, so I was like, okay, I can probably cancel this order out and get a little bit higher here on this move. So that's what I do, and I get the fill there at 68.34 for another 50 shares, an average now of 100 at 68.99. So now I'm putting 75 shares out at 68.70. If I can get a fill down there towards my first position, I'll take that, and I'll put the other 25 out at 68.30 if it wants to continue down from there. So there I get the fill at 68.70 with 75. So now I'm down to 25 shares, hoping we can get a further move to the downside, especially down towards those moving averages. Certainly still had room to go if it wanted to, but I didn't get an add in up towards 70, which would have been really nice to get the position up higher. So at this point, it starts coming back up. I just put a stop out a little bit below my average on the rest, because if it comes up here, I'm not really interested in it anymore, and we'll just cover it out for a tiny win. So not the cleanest here, because we never got that third add, and the first two weren't quite in the right position. So just taking it off there for a total of 13 bucks on the trade. Not the cleanest, but cleaner than this trade on ATI. This one was ridiculous because we get a really nice move here on ATI. I was kind of doing a couple other things at the time, so I decided to take this one very small as well, looking for that move up through 25. So here we go. Look at this nice big move. Normally we crush this kind of move, right? But for whatever reason, I was being a little bit more secure with it because I was doing other things. So in there at 25, it pops up 25.20. I almost decided to take another error at 25.20, but I held off and I was looking for down through 24.70 on the cover. And boy, did I get married to that 24.70, because 35 minutes later, I have not been able to get that cover. It did dip below it by a penny. I tried to get filled there about 4 minutes after I got in, didn't get it, so I finally give up here 35 minutes later and book a massive $6 win. So that's it for the day. Kind of a weird day today, all over the place, but at least I made some money, and we'll move on to tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you later.